We'd like to welcome everybody out to Surprise We Both Love Movies. This week we're going to be reviewing a brand new movie called Tom and Jerry, which is streaming exclusively on HBO Max and is also in theaters. This movie stars Chloe Grace Moretz, and we've got Michael Pena. Plus, we've got Tom and Jerry. This movie, what they're trying to do with this film is Jerry's trying to find a home. That's how this movie begins. So Jerry's trying to find a home, and we have Tom, who's also he's trying to get money. And he goes out. It's kind of goofy at the beginning, him as a musician, and everybody knows that he can talk, he can do music. Well, he doesn't talk, but he can do music, and everybody can see him. They don't make a secret in the movie that everybody can see them do these amazing feats. In the film, Jerry tries to join up with Tom and kind of go in on his gig, and that's where they learn to hate each other. It's like they've never seen each other before this point. And then Jerry ends up running away. Tom ends up going away in shame, and Jerry ends up taking refuge in a hotel. At the same time, we have Chloe Grace Moretz's character, who is in between jobs, and she's trying to make her way in New York. And she goes to the hotel, and she ends up helping them get ready for this big wedding that's happening with these two royals. And they were doing a wedding there at that hotel, and she does take someone else's job, actually takes her resume, shames her, gets that girl to leave. And it was kind of a funny scene. And she ends up taking her job, and goofiness ensues for the rest of the film. She ends up hiring Tom to come in and get rid of Jerry against everyone's best judgment, and just craziness ensues in this movie. So Lamont, what did you think of this film?
All right, let me see. I'm gonna test your Tom and Jerry history. So I'm gonna sing a little something. I'm gonna hum a little something. I want to see if you can finish.
I don't do music.
Oh, you're the music guy. I'm so disappointed.
No. If I did
Tom
music,
and Jerry show.
yeah, I guarantee you would leave if I tried to do that.
It's the Tom and Jerry show. And so when I'm thinking of Tom and Jerry, I obviously go back to the 1970s when I watched it as a kid. And what I get really nervous when they reboot something is it going to stick to the formula that made it funny back in the day? And are they going to be talking? Are they going to be digitally animated, like 3D digitally animated? Are they going to be doing wacky and wild things that these characters have never done before that really don't fit their personalities? And the answer to all those things is no. It stays very pure to form. Tom and Jerry obviously are the stars of the movie, and their characters hold true. The things that they did back in the 70s, granted it's a different location, they're in New York City for this movie, they ring true. The characters stay pure. And that in itself is a great cinematic feat for these days, because usually they change some things. So the situation changes, but the characters didn't. And that was a great way to start off the movie. I realized early on Tom wasn't going to be like doing any rapping, and Jerry wasn't going to be like, all of a sudden a Jabberwocky from, the Las Vegas shows. They stayed true to their form, and it worked throughout that movie. The beginning of the movie, you have interesting characters. Michael Pena's character, he's great at comedy. He doesn't do it enough, but when he does do it, he does it well. Newcomer Chloe, I don't remember what was her last name.
Chloe Grace Moretz. She is known. People would remember her as Hit Girl from the Kick-Ass movies.
That's who she is. Yeah.
Kick-Ass 1 and 2. And
yeah,
she's come a long way since then. There's a very different role for her. So
yeah. She's grown up, and she really is able to deliver the role. She's very charismatic. She's entertaining. She has great facial expressions, and you really feel like, in essence, that she's interacting with Tom and Jerry. It feels very authentic for what they're trying to do. So I thought it worked on a lot of levels. It met my expectations as far as the continuity of the characters. And what did you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I'll tell you, out of the two movies we did this week, I probably enjoyed this one a little more. Tom and Jerry, I was nervous going in for the same reasons you said. You know, we have fond memories of these as kids, and you're worried about what they're going to do with the properties. And I did end up watching a couple reviews by people that I respect, and they all said they give this movie an F. It's no good. You've only got Tom and Jerry in the film for like 5 minutes. And they all went off on it saying it's the same thing they did with all these other movies like the Smurfs, and it takes place in New York and all this other stuff. So I was a little nervous watching the film, but I'm happy to say they were wrong on every account except for the fact that it takes place in New York. I'm one of the few that actually like the Smurfs movies. I thought they were pretty fun and well done. I got to go with one of my daughters who loves the Smurfs, and I had a good time at the movies, and I was never bored watching those. This was more of my thing, though, you know, Tom and Jerry. And I agree with you. This movie was well done. Tom and Jerry were in it for way more than 5 minutes. They were throughout the whole film. And you have to have some kind of a story, obviously, with the humans. The human story and what they did was probably not the best. I think they could have probably come up with a better way or a better story than what they came up with. The whole ending and the climax of the film when Tom and Jerry end up having to team up to do something, I thought was a little overdone. I thought it could have been a little more personal, a little more fun. I didn't find it particularly as interesting as the rest of the film, but it still hit the mark for, I think, 90% of the film. So I actually enjoyed this from the beginning to the end, and I never got bored watching it. So I thought it was pretty good. What was your score on this?
All right, for me, it made it through the first act, second act, third act. They're all solid. It was entertaining throughout. The characters stayed true to form. Everybody, it's a movie. It is definitely a movie you go to escape and have fun. And I was honestly able to say the way that it was directed and the way that the actors portrayed their roles, I had fun. Yeah. And so for me, this movie exceeded my expectations and stayed true to the spirit of Tom and Jerry. So as a movie, I'm able to give this an 8. I had a good time with it. It doesn't warrant a film score. It's not that type of movie.
Right.
So I'm just giving it an 8 as a movie this week. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I wouldn't give this any type of a film score as a movie score, though. I give it 7.5. I couldn't give it quite an 8 because it's not something I think if I'm going up into that 8 category, it's something I would definitely want to add to my collection and something I would watch and want to watch on occasion. I'd watch this again. I'll probably add it to my collection, but I don't think it's going to be something I pop in as often as some of the other movies that I would watch. But it gets pretty dang close, so I'd give it 7.5. We would like to thank everybody for coming out. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you can hear us on all the different podcast platforms that are out there. And we appreciate all the support thus far. So that's all we have for you this week. I'm Aaron Fisher.
I'm Lamont Aaron.
See you guys next time.